Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/ProRevenge. Let's start with a warm-up story about revenge on an employee. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. I just want you to be here. I've worked in live theater for my entire professional career. For the most part, I've specialized in video, which is a pretty niche thing. Not a lot of people that are drawn to live theatrical performance are at all interested in video. I was working at a large regional theater company as a video engineer. Said company got lucky enough to be the place where a show destined for Broadway would originate. This show has received a decent amount of fame, not like Hamilton, but you've probably heard the name if I said it here. The show had a lot of video, like a lot. Specifically, it had around 30 flat-screen TVs that were part of the set. They'd fly up and down, move across the stage, and display all sorts of content. We brought in a Broadway designer and his team of assistants to produce all the content. I worked most closely with the video engineer attached to the project, a New York City-based guy. We'll call him Fred. It was a big show for my team. The scope was completely out of our usual wheelhouse, but we had a lot of talent on our side. All of us put in some insane hours. Me and one other person had a couple of 100-plus hour weeks during the build and load-in. I, in particular, didn't get a day off for around a month. I think 29 days. It was a big show. We were all exhausted. Once we were in technical rehearsals, the large part of my job was over. Most of the time, I was expected to be on site in case anything went wrong. In general, I'm totally fine with this. It's part of the job. We got to a Wednesday night, right at the end of that 29-day period. I realized I literally didn't have a clean pair of underwear to wear the next day. I talked to my boss at the theater company, local, and his boss, also local, and they gave me the okay to go home to do my laundry. I'd be back the next day at 8 a.m. I went to let Fred know what the plan was. I explained that I needed to do laundry and that I hadn't had a day off in a month. He sighed, exhibiting extreme annoyance and disappointment, and said, "I just want you to be here." Well, F you too, Fred. Seriously. He knew how hard I'd been working. He knew how much I'd been there. He knew there wasn't anything for me to do that evening. He knew that if there was a technical problem, he was more than qualified to address it. He knew all of those things and didn't care. That was the moment any ambition I had to work on Broadway died. I'd put my heart and soul into that show and had a relationship fall apart as a result, and he wanted me to want to be there? Side note, theater people can be really toxic about this kind of thing. If you aren't there every waking hour, people will turn their noses up at you. It's the one thing I hate about theater, that there's this cultish sense of required level of devotion, that if someone treats it as a job and not a calling, they don't deserve to be there, which is bullcrap on many levels. That said, if anyone is in the condition I was in, the hours and the lack of days off, usually they'll be escorted out of the building by their coworkers and have their keys taken away until they get some rest. Theater people can be cultish, but they do care about one another. Fred's actions were on a whole different level. There was no immediate reprisal. We got through the technical rehearsals and the show opened. Then it closed and moved on to New York City for an off-Broadway run before it got to Broadway and received much critical acclaim. The revenge story comes with the move to off-Broadway. See, I was the person responsible for boxing up all those TVs to send to New York City. This particular model of TV has a big rocker switch on the back, a master power switch. Knowing Fred, I knew that wouldn't be something that he'd check, so I went ahead and flipped them all off, packed up the TVs, and sent them on their way. A friend of mine worked on the production in New York. Apparently, Fred got his crew to hang all the TVs and fly them up into position without checking anything. Apparently, Fred then spent a couple of days trying to turn them on with remotes, with network control, even getting on an electric lift and hitting the power button, separate from the rocker. Nothing worked, huh? Apparently, when he found out the problem, he was rather frustrated. Apparently, he'd been putting in some long days and hadn't had a day off in a while. Well, Fred, I just wanted you to be there. Well played, mate. Fred literally deserved that, and maybe some more. You were too good. And our second story. The empty cabinets are not enough space for you? Okay, then. To start off this tale of pettiness, coupled with that sweet revenge, I'll give background as to why this outcome perplexed and enraged at the same time. I've lived on my own for a while now and therefore have furnished the houses I live in. That means bathrooms, living rooms, bedrooms, kitchens, cleaning supplies, etc. When I moved into this new abode, I was no longer renting the entire house, just the master bedroom and the garage. The other rooms are rented by college students ages 18, 34, and 63. I know, 63? Anyways, when I moved in, I asked the landlord about furnishing the house, and the reply was they would love for me to do that, and then other tenants can use my dishes and cookware and silverware. Pretty nice gesture to make for a broke college student, right? Well, down the road, this assumption would be wrong. It's been 3 months with the kitchen and house fully stocked with room to spare for storage and shelf space. Suddenly, a rep from the housing company shows up and says she's there to help us organize and schedule cleaning. Okay. Thanks, new random unwanted mom. Note, I've been saying every month to the other tenants, if you want to put something in the kitchen or other place in the house, just tell me and we can move stuff around. Apparently this was too difficult because now this lady's here putting labels with everyone's names on the shelves and drawers via the complaints of other tenants. Everyone now has one cabinet and one drawer in this kitchen, and the space use is completely horrid. Instead of being able to use all the space in a cabinet for plates, there's now 2 plates on a shelf in each cabinet because everyone needs their own space. Also, there was plenty of empty cabinet and drawer space already. For weeks, unused. Don't let the plates touch, they have cooties. Now I have to remove all the shared cookware, bowls, plates, cleaning supplies, silverware, cups, etc. because they belong to me and I have no space for pantry food and all that stuff in one cabinet. On to the revenge side. Rubbing hands together with a devious, if I dare say, dastardly smile. Well, since you children needed to have your space defined and labeled, and you seem to take for granted the fully stocked kitchen and household I've provided, let's see how you like having none of those things. The anticipation was almost too much to bear, joined by the rage inside. It was almost as good as some type of drugs. Harry Potter thought they were quite roomy, though. And our last story. My husband will fire you. He's the local manager. A little backstory. I was talking with a friend at work about our next step in international development, and a phone message came to my office. I knew the front desk employee that called, and she was quite a pal and a really good worker with a great attitude and was surprisingly young, so I answered. The following occurred, and it humored me for quite a while. For about 2 days. Entitled mother, Karen. Entitled teen, EK. Entitled father, Ed. Friend, Frank, semi-founder of the company. Local affairs manager, Lou. Front desk employee, Sarah. Me, executive manager. Sarah. I'm sorry, Mr. My name while sobbing. There's a problem and I don't know who to ask for help. Calm down first. What seems to be the problem? There's a lady and she's yelling at me, and I don't know what to do. Please, can you calm down? I'll be down in a sec. I turn to Frank. Sorry, Frank, there's a problem. No worries. You want me to come down with you? Shouldn't need to worry, nothing big. Okay, if you need me, give me a call. Thanks. I take the elevator downstairs, and when I walk out, it's like, welcome to the jungle. There's an apex predator snake woman screeching so loud as I hear crying from the background. Sarah, what's wrong? Tears going everywhere. She stands behind me. What? Karen. I'm looking for your manager, young man, and since this girl can't do her job right, she might as well be fired. Apologies for anything she did wrong, but please do calm down. We have other VIPs here. Finally, someone who knows how to speak to me. I am the wife of the local affairs manager, Lou, and I'm here to see him. Sorry, but he's unavailable as he has a ton of work he's doing right now. Entitled kid, get out of the way. We're family of your boss, so get lost. Me. There seems to be a mistake. Ed walks out of the elevator. Hey, here's my team. EK, Dad. Karen, Ed's name. Ed, what's wrong, honey? Has this kid said something? Karen, no, it's not him. He was quite polite, unlike this ungrateful slut who thinks a mere desk attendee is worth more than my son. Ed, what? Me. What? Sarah. Calm down a little. She tried to force me to go out with her son. Karen, damn right, and you should be grateful for getting a chance like this. Sarah, no, I have my own life. An argument that's way too long occurred. Basically, I told EF that I was the executive manager of international affairs, and he wouldn't believe me. And at the end, this is what happened. Frank comes through the elevator. Ed's mouth drops. Karen, who is Ed? Shut up. EK. Dad. Me. Oh my God, I thought I was going to be stuck down here forever. Frank, who's the semi-founder of the company, oops, forgot to mention that, says, "What's taking you so long? Your coffee went cold 20 minutes ago." Me. Can you take over? I've still got work. Frank. What happened? Me. There's a complaint about Sarah. Frank. Right, I'll figure it out. That's pretty much the end. The girl thanked me and went home. I stayed and watched the horror form in the entitled family's faces as my friend explained to them who I was. The EF looked like he was going to die right then and there, and Karen and EK stared at the ground. EF begged for my forgiveness, and I just said, "Hey, as you said, I'm just a effing child who can't do anything in this company and eats off food scraps from super big shots like you. So I'm going to leave this up to the adults." Ed. Emotions stop. I stand up and say goodbye and leave the room with Frank and Ed. The next day, I got an apology letter, and then the family came in to see me. I took them downstairs to see Sarah. I asked Sarah, "Hey, so these people would like your suggestion whether for them to stay in the company or leave?" Sarah looks at Karen. "I'm sorry." Karen. "You effing slut." Me. "Thank you for your contributions to the company, and having thought about it, I'm going to say I'll see you tomorrow, Ed." Karen. "Thank the father, so..." Me. "In the office at 8 so you can collect your ceased contract and compensation. If you can't make it, I'll be happy to see you Monday morning, same time." Thanks for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.